The observation deck of the Crithian warship Eternal Dominion offered a perfect view of the arena below. Commander Vexter, a decorated warrior of the Crithian Empire, stood with his forearms crossed, watching the two human prisoners being escorted into the fighting pit. His mandibles clicked with anticipation. "These are the ones who destroyed our supply depot on Kepler 442, asked Sub-Commander Wraith, her scales shimmering with curiosity. "Indeed," Vexter rumbled. "The female is designated Hazel Martinez. Combat medic? The male, Leo Chen, engineer. Neither are trained soldiers, yet they eliminated an entire garrison." Wraith's eyes narrowed. "Impossible. Our intelligence must be flawed." Vexter had thought the same. Humans were weak, their bodies fragile compared to the mighty Crithians who had conquered 47 star systems. Yet something about the way these two humans moved, even in chains, unsettled him. Down in the arena, Hazel and Leo stood back to back as the energy barriers dropped. Across from them, 3 Vorten shock troops materialized, 9-foot-tall reptilian warriors bred specifically for arena combat. The crowd of Crithian officers roared with approval. "They won't last 30 seconds, Wraith predicted. Vexter said nothing. He had made the mistake of underestimating humans once before. The Vortens charged with terrifying speed. Most species would have frozen or fled. Hazel and Leo simply looked at each other and nodded. Leo moved first, dropping low and sliding across the arena floor as a Vorten's clawed hand swept through empty air. In one fluid motion, he grabbed a handful of the sand that covered the arena and flung it directly into the creature's eyes. The Vorten stumbled back, roaring in pain. "Primitive," Wraith scoffed. "Dishonorable." "Effective," Vexter corrected quietly. Hazel had already engaged the second Vorten. She was smaller, slower, weaker by every measurable standard. She should have died instantly. Instead, she ducked under its massive arms, grabbed its weapon harness, and used its own momentum to redirect it straight into the arena wall. The impact cracked the reinforced barrier. The third Vorten had learned from its companion's mistakes. It approached cautiously, circling the two humans. Hazel and Leo moved in perfect synchronization, maintaining their defensive positions. "They're communicating," Vexter observed. Without words, it was true. Hazel's eyes flicked left. Leo shifted right. She raised her fingers. He nodded once. Years of working together had created a language beyond speech. The Vorten lunged at Leo, seeing him as the easier target. It was a fatal miscalculation. Leo rolled forward, not away, coming up inside the creature's guard. His elbow struck its throat, a weak point Crithian combat doctrine never exploited, because honorable warriors didn't target vulnerabilities. Humans had no such restrictions. As the Vorten gasped for air, Hazel was already moving. She had retrieved a piece of broken barrier from the wall and drove it into the second Vorten's knee joint. The creature collapsed, and she finished it with a precise strike to its temple using a combat technique Vexter recognized from Earth archives, something called Krav Maga. The first Vorten, eyes still streaming from the sand, charged blindly at where it thought the human stood. They weren't there. They were 3 feet to the left, and as it passed, Leo grabbed its tail while Hazel struck its ankles. Physics did the rest. The massive creature crashed face first into the arena floor. Silence filled the observation deck. "Impossible," Wraith whispered. Below. Hazel and Leo stood among 3 unconscious Vortens, barely winded. They didn't celebrate. They simply turned toward the observation deck, their eyes finding Vexter through the transparent barrier. The message was clear. "Is that all you've got? Release the Karnaks," Vexter ordered. Wraith's scales went pale. "Commander, the Karnaks are... I know what they are. Release it." The far wall of the arena opened, and something emerged that made even Vexter's battle-hardened hearts beat faster. The Karnax was a 12-foot monstrosity of muscle, chitin, and rage, a creature from a death world that made even Crithian planets look hospitable. Its 4 eyes fixed on the humans, and it roared, revealing 3 rows of teeth designed to shred starship hull plating. Leo and Hazel exchanged a look. Hazel's lips moved. "Remember Titan." Leo smiled grimly. "Remember Titan." What happened next would be discussed in Crithian military academies for generations. The humans didn't run. They didn't attack. Instead, they separated, forcing the Karnaks to choose. When it charged Leo, Hazel didn't flee to safety, she charged too, straight at its flank. While it swiped at Leo, who dodged with infuriating precision, Hazel climbed onto its back. The Karnaks bucked and twisted, trying to dislodge her. She held on with a determination that seemed to defy biological limits. Her hands found the neural cluster at the base of its skull, a weak point documented in Crithian databases, but considered impossible to exploit in combat. She can't. Wraith breathed. Even our strongest warriors lack the grip strength to. Hazel's fingers dug in. The Karnak shrieked. Leo was already moving, using a discarded Vorten blade to strike at the creature's leg joints. Not wildly, but with surgical precision, targeting connective tissue and nerve clusters. Every strike had purpose. Every movement conserved energy. The Karnaks collapsed, paralyzed by Hazel's assault on its nervous system. The arena fell silent again. Then Hazel slid off the creature's back and walked calmly to Leo's side. They stood together, breathing hard but unbowed, and looked up at Vexther once more. Enough, Vexther said quietly. Bring them to me. When the humans were escorted into his command chamber, still in chains, but now treated with wary respect, Vexther studied them carefully. How? He asked simply. Leo spoke first. You fight with honor, with rules, with tradition. Hazel continued. We fight to survive, to protect, to win. You are not soldiers, Vexther observed. No, Hazel agreed. We're something worse. We're humans who are left no choice but to become dangerous. Vexther's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. He had conquered dozens of species, fought countless warriors, but he had never encountered anything quite like humans, beings who turned every disadvantage into a weapon, every moment into an opportunity, and who simply refused to accept defeat. Release them, he ordered. Commander. Wraith gasped. Release them, and send a message to the fleet. Vexther met Hazel's eyes, then Leo's. Humanity is not to be engaged. Not now. Perhaps not ever. As the humans' chains fell away, Vexther understood a truth that would reshape Crithian strategy. Legends might be powerful, but humans were something far more dangerous. They were survivors who had learned to thrive.